Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Speed Gaming 2. We are here for another conference semifinal matchup between Frostbite3030 representing Phendrana Drifters and Gem representing Frame Will Give an Interview If We Win, a very long team name. I am Penny Royal Oil, formerly known as Mentos Man 8 to avoid future questions, and I am joined today on the mic by Tyler Salt. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing fantastic. Love some Rando in the morning. This is game 4 of this series. Gem and Frame will give an interview if we win. The dream is alive, if only barely, for that Frame interview. We have the layout's not quite correct, but we'll ping about that. This is all dungeon open key sanity here for this game 4 match between these two teams. This is our last conference semifinal match outstanding. And so we have 3 of our semifinals. There we go. We have 3 of our semifinals done and semifinalists confirmed. This is the last one that we're looking for. And we have 2 absolutely fantastic runners for you today. Really looking forward to the show these guys put on.
Yep, and if Frame Will Give an Interview if we win takes the win, if Gem beats out Frostbite today, there is another matchup tonight. The final game of the series, the game 5, would be tonight at 6:10 p.m. Eastern between Korek and Jet. I'm personally cheering for Gem a little bit because I want to see that matchup.
That match would be an absolute banger as we start out with a big key from Ganon's Tower. So if you had won in the Ganon's Tower big key guessing game today, you win.
So that's a not very helpful start, long term it's very important. So hey, we'll take it.
Divergence right off the bat is Gem looks like is headed over to do a Houlihan right off the bat. I've been seeing this start a little bit more and more recently, and I kind of like it. I want to try it out a little bit. So that's nice. Frostbite doing the more typical start, headed up to Lumberjack and getting that 80 rupees from that tier 1 tree.
Yeah, that tree pull is a little bit unfortunate for Gem, because you go through the time to get Houlihan set up, and you could have gotten all the money you need, immediately by just pulling the tree.
It looked like just a piece of heart up there on the Lumberjack ledge, and Link's house has the Cane of Burna for us today.
And we're seeing Gem make the move over to the right here. He's gonna go buy bombs from the shop down by Lake Hylia, check the island with a quick little hop off the ledge. Just another piece of heart there though, and a glove at the mushroom spot. So we've got our first glove that opens up a couple things, not a whole lot, super early.
And Gem is headed up to the Saha Eastern area. So definitely kind of, down 2 games to 1, a must-win game for Gem and his team. I get the kind of unorthodox routing here, hoping that you get lucky and pull something that your opponent is going to have to wait.
Yeah, I've dabbled with some of the more unconventional routes, especially in Key Sandy in my time. Sometimes it's just nice to go a little bit out of the way. Maybe try to find a bottle, a flute, something that'll help you when you get to Kakariko. Instead, we just get our small key that we needed for Ganon's Tower anyway to save having to go to literally any room other than the lobby and upstairs. So yeah, we won't be seeing any of GT today. Well,
probably. This is all dungeons.
Yeah, we could have Castle Tower key on Tile Room and everyone will cry, but...
I didn't catch what was on the race game, but Frostbite doesn't care. This is clearly garbage. And nothing on the library shelf for us today either.
Now we're approaching Kakariko from the south. Frostbite gonna go ahead and buy bombs, I would assume, after the chicken hut when he uses up the one he's got.
Especially going to do it now that you can get the bombs and pay the bottle vendor with that 50 rupees.
Well, going into Kakariko, you only need 50 to get the bottle vendor item because there are 30 in the basement of Blind's hut and another 20 in the well. So going in with 100, you can buy bombs, get the bottle vendor guarantee.
That's true. That's true.
The upshot of that 50 is now you can buy the bottle vendor on the way past and then save and quit out of Blind's hut instead of having to walk back up the stairs and out the building, which is a very nice little time save.
Ooh, there is the mirror early on. You like to see that. Helps with making a lot of checks much more convenient than they would be otherwise.
Absolutely. Also, it does give us access to Tower of Hera if we wanted to sequence break up the mountain, go through the dark room.
There's our flute in the well. Always nice to find that in Kakariko.
Yep, very much. And since doing the... Hey, there's the hookshot in Blind's hut.
All right, so Death Mountain looking better and better now that we can get up there in logic and check everything. And we have the red cane in Blind's hut as well.
Yeah, the bottom of Kakariko only had that mirror going on. Not a whole lot for it, but the upper part of Kakariko has been very lucrative. I'm a little disappointed with Frostbite here. They didn't activate the flute before going into Blind's hut. That walk down there would cost less time than walking back out of Blind's hut after this.
Come on, Gem, what are you doing?
So I think it's pretty clear that we're going to be seeing a lot of Death Mountain here very momentarily, because, I mean, where else are you going to go with everything that just got thrown at you?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Gem headed up there early. I could definitely see perhaps Frostbite, knowing that you've got a lead, playing kind of more simply, and we got dueling flute activations here.
Also, chat reminded me that the save and quit time at the hut versus the time spent walking back out, you're probably not going to get much time either way when you're going to be floating to the mountain afterwards. So, not really a major difference here.
Yeah, so we'll see if Frostbite does head up the mountain or heads down to the South Shore. It is the South Shore play for Frostbite. This is what I was trying to say before we got into the flute activation, right? Frostbite, is probably incentivized to, with a pod big key, that's nice, to play a little bit more conservatively right here. You don't want to lose this game. With your play, you may not win it, but you definitely don't want to actively lose it. I guess that's true always, but doing fewer skips on Frostbite part probably makes some sense. We might see Gem head up the mountain right away.
Yeah, and something comes down to the idea of, do you focus on density or do you want to make sure that Sphere 1 is done? There's a lot of varying opinion about that in the randomizer community. We could use that hookshot to take out the mini Moldorms, which makes this whole cave a whole lot easier than doing it with bombs.
Gem blind playing the race game. Not going to find anything as Frostbite gets half magic. We have a Meyer big key, piece of heart, a map to Hyrule Castle, and a map to Ice Palace.
So, I was kind of, after seeing that Hyrule Castle map, I was kind of hoping the other one was GT, just for the ultimate slap in the face, but no such luck. And we do see Gem following along down to the South Shore. Going to go ahead and get these checks out of the way now.
Now, the one thing that might be keeping them from going up the mountain is they don't currently have a weapon that they can use to kill Moldorm. With the hook shot, they can sequence break up there via the Herapot glitch. But our runners might want to see if they can find a sword or the hammer before they head up towards Tower Hera.
Yeah, that would be a plus to have on hand before you get up there. Now we're gonna see a quick check of the back of Escape, because you got the glove. It's a very, very rapid check of 3 items. Why not go ahead and get it? So get a Meyer small key and some garbage. The Meyer small key, totally actually unnecessary for beating the dungeon. You don't actually need to pick up any to get through it all, but it lets you out a little bit nicer, so no one's going to complain about getting them.
That's really good game design, that you don't need any of the small keys in the chests in Meyer to beat Meyer. It's very good. Somebody thought that through.
Then you got, Pod, where everything can break entirely if you don't have all 6 dungeon keys.
Frostbite is our first runner up the mountain, using the Cane of Samaria to navigate that dark room with the to rescue the old.
So yeah, we're gonna rescue the old man. I'm curious if either of them will go straight up the mountain on the west side. I'm guessing they're both probably gonna go around east first. Like you said, they would like to have a weapon for Hera, and there are a lot of items over on the east side. The old man with some garbage, and Frostbite goes in to get healed up because, well, sky cabbages can be really annoying.
This screen is dumb. It's dumb and bad. That's all I have to say.
What, you just have completely random rocks falling from the sky that do 1 heart of damage each, and you got dead rocks that can block you in your path and get you stuck where you can't avoid them. What could go wrong? So we're off into Paradox Cave. We are going to have 2 items down on the bottom, another 5 up top. One of the most lucrative locations in the game.
Yeah, Paradox, don't call me Hype Cave.
That's a shovel for Frostbite. That's, something. You'll check that eventually when you go do Stumpy, if you have any say about it.
There's a slick bomb there of that Moldorm over on the left as we find up an ice small key. It's really all you need is the one. There's the Moon Pearl in Paradox Cave and the Titan's Mitt. So that's Dark World access right there for our runners. And they can knock out Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave while they're up.
Yep, and even better, they can now mirror over from the Dark World into the bridge to the west side of Death Mountain and just walk right over to Hera instead of having to flute back to 1 and climb the mountain from there. So, very, very nice to find.
There's a full heart container up on the floating island. Frostbite, however, is going to check Spiral Cave here at this point. Does have to go down to the bottom of the east side of the mountain in order to get to the Dark World without the hammer, of course.
I don't know about you, but I'm just waiting for the flippers to drop somewhere on East Death Mountain, because this is the kind of sea that leads you to swamp so often.
That was well done there by Frostbite on 1 heart, avoiding all of the enemies there in the bottom of Spiral Cave.
Oh, that dead rock almost made him pay, but he got through there. He's in the Dark World. He is pretty much safe now. Jim, meanwhile, following just a few steps behind. Obviously, he went to Sahasrara to check that at the beginning, did the Houlihan place. That's pretty much where the difference in these two is at. Other than that, they've done all the same checks. They basically routed everything else the same.
Sports Hefe mentions in chat that Dark Death Mountain is surprisingly desolate, and that leaves me like, why the heck aren't there any enemies up here except for those Lionels heading over towards the bridge? Like, what did they forget?
I mean, in reality, if you're playing vanilla, there's really no reason to ever be down on the bottom of Death Mountain. You're pretty much either at T-Rock or walking the GT.
That's
Maybe
true.
you're just like, people aren't going to be here that much, don't bother.
Got a blue boomerang in Hookshot Cave. There's the Ether Medallion. Some arrows. And some bombs. So not much there. Ether could be nice. I imagine we'll head over and see what medallion we need from Turtle Rock. Yep.
And Death Mountain's surprisingly empty today in terms of items. And Frostbite is saving and quitting instead of walking over to Hera.
Yeah, on One Heart and Green Mail, those Lionels are not fun. You could use the mirror and the cane to kind of duel around it, but I don't mind this. And actually, Frostbite looks like it's going to be fluting away instead of going up the west side again without a weapon to defeat Moldorm. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I mean, there are 4 items at the top of the mountain that are very quick to check. The 2 basement checks of Hera, the Spectacle Rock Cave, and interior and top. But there are also 3 really quick checks over here, along with the medallion check. And hey, Ether is the only medallion we don't need.
Womp womp.
Shoutouts right there for Frostbite managing to walk directly between those 2 little zappy balls, which is not easy to do, even harder without boots. Desert Ledge, we get a big key that goes to Ice Palace, so more ice stuff, and we're a fire rod or bombos away from being able to do a decent chunk of Ice Palace.
Gem, on the other hand, has brought us into Tower of Hera. Get some bombs there in the compass chest. Or the map chest, whichever. And there's a bow down in the basement. He'll be mirroring out and headed out. I guess he might Herapod up, but...
Yeah, Herapod without a weapon would just give you 1 more item. It's really not worth the time investment to do it here, but that bow is going to hurt Frostbite, probably.
And that looked like a big 20 in Spectacle Rock. So bow is nice for Gem, for sure. Imagine he's going to go over and do these desert and mire checks just like Frostbite. Looked like Frostbite didn't find much in desert. I didn't catch... Well, it's Key Sanity. It's not really Boots Lock. I didn't catch what was on the torch, though.
Yeah, I won't lie to you. I missed that as well, so... We're getting the Agena check now. Gonna go ahead and check this out. Probably, I believe, the last Sphere 1 location that we didn't check initially.
We haven't seen the front of Escape yet. So there's at least 1 chest in there that's Sphere 1.
That's right. Front of Escape, and we didn't go into Eastern Palace either. So Frostbite, again, not planning to go up the mountain, not going to get that bow just yet. We'll see if he goes to 3 for the Dark World or if he's got other plans, but here we are at 3.
To clear up some confusion in chat here about how the seeds were determined. So this is a playoff match. We had a 7-week long regular season. here, and each team, one that made the playoffs, was seeded in a bracket based on their regular season performance, right? And so Farame will give an interview if we win. Went undefeated in the regular season, 14-0. Phendrana Drifters lost one match, and so we're lower seeded in the tournament. I believe that Phendrana was, I'm going to pull up the bracket here. Phendrana Drifters was a 1 seed also there. They had a bye just like, and then just like Farame will do an interview if we win there. And then that tie between those two teams, their seeds were broken by that regular season record. And so Farame comes in as the higher seed, and that's what matters.
I like this from Frostbite. He's going over here to get this key out of the pot. With it being Key Sandy, there are no guaranteed keys anywhere in Skull Woods, and you can get yourself locked if you don't have one. So grabbing that key means that you can make a nice clean route through the front of Skull Woods and not worry about being locked anywhere.
But didn't check the vanilla big key chest, it seems. Having the Canis Maria makes that much easier, of course, but
he
does not
did
appear
actually
to have
check
done it. He did do it? Okay.
Yeah, he did it the hard way, pushing the statue. I think he forgot that he had Canis Maria for a moment, but he did check it.
That's good.
Now, Gem is fake flippering up to check the waterfall and probably King Zora and the ledge while he's up here. With the bow, and the cane and bombs, he could do a splash deletion to get the ledge item if need be. He does this water walk here to get these items. He can check Zora in logic.
And there's the Hera big key. So that is flippers locked. It's good to know.
And that's a small key on the ledge, so I'm guessing we'll see Gem dash and go grab that.
Frostbite giving us our first look over here at the village of Outcasts. King Zora. Oh, that's a nice key to find. There is that small to swamp, and Jet is going to lose his fake flipper and go down here and do that splash delete for that other for this other one. And so Frostbite's going to have to make his way up to the Zora area at some point. That small key to swamp is 100% required. And there are the flippers, which is nice for Frostbite. That's going to push him up here, I imagine. So that's good that we know at least that Gem is in logic.
Yep, which could be good for Frostbite. If he follows those flippers up to the waterfall, gets that Hera big key, he might get to the boat a lot quicker than he would if he doesn't get that big key. So Gem following along up to the Dark World here, gonna go through this portal. Frostbite without the Thief Sound big key, dipping out after the front four to go to the chest game, where we get 50 rupees and another 50 rupees. So, you know, you profit. You don't really care because you already have the money you need, really, but... Now we're going to be mirroring over here to check Sick Kid, and then going to check the brewery, the Bumble Hut, whatever you want to call it. Sick Kid with just a piece of heart, so that it's not really what you're looking for, but you get the check out of the way, it's all dungeons key sandy. You can't skip anything, so might as well have it done. Okay, and there's Bombos, which opens up the possibility of a Iced Palace Hammer, which is always a joy.
Oh man, that's
that
the
on the
worst.
table.
That's the worst Ice Palace Hammer. It's not great.
It is. It's better with Icebreaker because at least, you know, you can route the dungeon a little bit reasonably, but ick.
Frostbite gonna try to do the dig game here. Gonna succeed. There's a key. It is a small key to pod. That's good. Pod play, you know, obviously we need that hammer to complete it, but with the big key, 2 small keys might be becoming an option here, and as well as the bow.
Yeah, as long as he gets the bow before he goes to pod, I'll be happy for him. If you don't have the bow going in there, or you're not, you know, great at mimic clipping or don't have potions, you waste a lot of keys in pod by not being able to optimally route the dungeon.
Yeah, waste a lot of keys and a lot of time as well. At least they have the mirror. That certainly helps with that, as Frostbite's going to turn in the smith. We'll see what the smiths have. It's a big key to Desert Palace. Okay.
That's well worth 10 rupees. I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll need a fire source there, and then we can beat Desert.
Now we're getting the purple chest dragged along. We're going to check Stumpy, the dig spot, K45, and then walk the purple chest down to Gary. Also, just as a reminder for everyone watching, since this is all dungeons key sanity, that means that we need to do Aga Tower, which means that the most annoying thing in this seed is very likely to be the second Castle Tower key. If you don't have forced Aga Dark World access, those Castle Tower keys are a nightmare.
Yeah, they can be literally essentially anywhere in the game. So hopefully, for a runner's sake, at least they find those early.
I want to say in practice, the second Castle Tower key can be in literally any location in the game except for Lumberjack.
In before vanilla Castle Tower key 2.
And I had that in one of my races in the tournament last year, or maybe it was the fall 2018 tournament. And yeah, that is awful. One of the worst.
All right, Gem feeling a little bit, I imagine a little bit better about his Zora play now, knowing that that was in logic when he did it with the flip.
Yeah, if I remember right, Gem tends to track logical access to stuff, so having the logical access show up right after you get something makes it a lot easier to do so.
Yeah, we have a we have a 1 small key now, and the big key to Turtle Rock was in K45, so that's good. Those Turtle Rock keys can be tricky to find as well.
I was kind of hoping that Frostbite would make the play for the first chest of swamp there to see if perhaps the hammer's hiding in there or something else valuable.
But here's Hype Cave and our first sword there for the NPC in Hype Cave, along with a heart container, a compass, 300 rupees, 600 rupees. All right, that's a good, solid, I'd say 4 out of 10 for the sword. Your first sword, very important.
Yeah, we give a little bit of credit for those rupees. He needed a little bit more to get Zora, and now he's got some free money for potions before making a pod dip, that kind of thing. so could be valuable. Oh, and I like this. Since he hasn't checked this yet, he's going to walk over here, get the Hylia Island item, and then he'll be able to walk over to... Or wait, he was the one who checked it, so he might have just forgotten, maybe.
So yeah, so now he'll swim over to the eastern side here, mirror, check the hobo, mirror back, and then hop out and is in the pod area. Yeah, Frostbite hadn't checked that. It was Gem who checked it earlier.
Yeah, my bad. I got sides of the screen mixed up slightly. So now, the downside of how Frostbite is moving right now is this inclines me to believe that he wants to go to pod. He might not go do the Zora and Waterfall checks just yet. In fact, no, he's not going to. So he's not going to get that Hera big key. Not going to be directed back up to his bow in Hera.
But maybe faking us out a little bit, going to the pyramid here. We'll see then as he walks away from the pyramid whether he's going to go southeast towards pod or north up to a catfish and a mirror to Zora. That would be really nice.
Very true. It is one of the few ways to make catfish not terrible. Well, not as terrible. But oh, we're getting the front of escape play looped in here. I like that.
Yeah, that's really nice, actually. I like that a lot. 30-minute uncle check.
Gem, meanwhile, on the other side of the screen, has been pretty much just following along behind Frostbite. He obviously went to do those flipper checks, got the Hera big key out of it. He did Sahasrara already, so he's got a couple extra checks on Frostbite. But outside of those couple things, their routing has been extraordinarily similar.
I like thinking that the uncle has now been, like, sitting in the secret passage dying for half an hour, right? And he's just holding on, waiting for Link to show up. What a guy.
Please come here. I can't hold on much longer. When can we get dynamic items on Uncle, where if you get to them right away, they're better quality than if you get to them later in the seed?
Somebody at Vtorp. That's a great idea.
Congratulations, you got the hook shot, but it's only got half its normal range. Oh.
It's been in the dark. It's damp down here. GG.
So, making the way through the dark escape here on the left side. Not too bad when you got a sword for visual, but Kirat can be a jerk. The moment you lose him, it's hard to track him down. We don't really need to do that because we already did Back of Escape, so he's got a pretty easy path here.
Sounded like some money there in Dark Cross.
Yep, seems to be another 300 based on how much his money just went up.
Well, we're good on money, folks.
Incidentally, for those who aren't in the loop, the items not showing up in the dark rooms is going to be fixed soon. Zarby had a really neat idea that's going to make it where every single item will show up in dark rooms when you pick them up, and that's fantastic. I'm a fan of that.
What was the idea? I'm curious.
I don't know the technical details well
okay.
enough, but it's basically changing the palette that the item is pulling from to a different palette, and then altering that palette for that item while you're in the dark rooms, or for those items while you're in the dark rooms, so that it can be not the palette that shows up as all black, and still have the darkness and everything in effect.
Outstanding. So that was the, we got the red crystal check from Gem in the Bomb Shop, Desert Palace, and Ice Palace are our 5-6 crystals.
It's somewhat nice to find out. Unfortunately, we did get the map of Ice Palace, so that's one of the 2 useful maps that are now useless, but...
Jem is taking his sword and heading up to finish off Tower of Hera right away.
That's an interesting play. I like it, but you are putting a little bit of a risk not having a fire source. You know, like I said earlier, this is all dungeons key sanity. It's very hard to skip any checks. If you had a fire source and the small key, when you came back up here, you could check the basement in one go, you know, getting up here early. If something's on Moldorm or upstairs, it's great. If something's downstairs, it's really bad for you.
There's a mirror bonk there for Frostbite. Happens to the best of us. Yeah, that if they do need to go into the Hera basement or check the ether tablet, that looks like it's going to have to wait probably until a run up the mountain to go do Turtle Rock. There was absolutely nothing in Escape.
Jem, meanwhile, nails Herapod very quickly, so he's going to save a little bit of time overdoing this all the, you know, way that we've all been accustomed to for who knows how long. Oh boy, we get a map for the green pendant, just what we always wanted.
Frostbite's going to knock out Graveyard Ledge here. Still wouldn't be surprised. I guess I would be surprised if he does not go do Catfish and Zora after this. That would be extremely weird. Ooh, and there's a Master Sword rewarded for looping that in.
Yeah, that's not a nice place for a sword. Jem, meanwhile, on a harder than vanilla Moldorm fight right now. Doing quite well so far, but here comes the tricky part.
Nice poke there to get that last hit against the enraged form of Moldorm. That's going to be our first dungeon down. Just some bombs, so nothing helpful, but we do get a crystal.
So Frostbite took the bee out of his bottle when he was over at Graveyard Ledge, but then didn't go buy anything. I'm guessing this means he's walking back out of this area, or planning to walk back out of this area, and buy one on the way to Pod. I couldn't say that for sure, but it seems to fit with the actions he's taken so far.
Seems reasonable, yeah. With the thought being then he would head over to Palace of Darkness. Unfortunately, doesn't know that that bow is up in Tower of Hera. There's blue mail at Catfish. Nice to have, but certainly not required.
And this is the moment that could change Frostbite's routing, because he's about to get this big key to Hera that Jem found earlier. There it is. And that could push him up to the mountain. Oh, he's going to throw his bottle in here. Get a fairy. So, still good for bottle or potion camera unlock, which is not a great name because, well, the fairy can do it too, but...
I don't think I realized that the fairy could do that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a little bit more time consuming, a little bit more annoying, but if it's your only option, hey, it's gonna work.
Jem about to get his Master Sword, and this will put the first chest of Castle Tower in logic.
I didn't realize how rude that sword placement was until you said that, but Frostbite had just come from the castle and then immediately got Master Sword. That's just mean.
Yeah, very rude. Come on, game. What are you doing?
Also, I'm really waiting for Hammer and Swamp, by the way. That small key on Zora reminded me that we have 2 checks in there and Hammer in there is the worst option, so I'm hoping for it.
Jem is moving, taking his way over to Catfish. This was a pretty solid route to knock this out here. You know, a bit of a long walk from Village of Outcast, but we are, you know, that happens. And Frostbite is taking the bait of that, or I guess not. It's not bait really. He's gonna get the bow out of it, but is taking the hint from that Hera big key and headed up to do these West Death Mountain checks. We'll get that bow.
Yep, fantastic news for him. Jem gonna get his blue mail off of the catfish, and we'll see where he goes next. Looking like a walk back down south.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be the pyramid play, and he might make his way over to Pod and Eastern.
Yep, with Pod, with 2 keys and the big key, if you route optimally, you can check everything except the vanilla big key chest or Harmless Hellway and the boss. You're free to check one or the other of those 2 locations without not having enough keys or needing more keys, but... Or no, wait, you need 3 to check one of those. So yeah, it's those 2 locations and the boss are the 3 things we can get. Frostbite getting the 3 bombs out of here does not pick up the item that dropped from that mini Moldorm, which is good because that can very much screw up your ability to Herapod because game makes sense. And we get a decent amount of pause buffers to make sure that work, but better to get it on the first try with buffers than to mess it up and have to try again.
Just 5 rupees in that first castle tower check, but a decent spot to root that in. And Jem is gonna do the front of escape play here. So we'll give back some of the time that he had built up from Frostbite. The rarely seen, except in entrance randomizer, east side hallway up to the back of escape, up to the front of escape.
I wonder how many people have played this game and never seen those rooms, to be honest.
It's weird, like, I remember playing this vanilla, and I would always go to the left there, too, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know what drives everyone to the left, honestly. It's actually more inconvenient to walk through the rooms. From a technical standpoint, it is quicker to go to the left. But from a casual standpoint, I've seen a ton of people do it, and there's really nothing pointing you that way.
It's just one of those things.
Meanwhile, while we were mentioning that, Frostbite with the Master Sword having a significantly easier Moldorm kill than Jem did. Also, oh crap, I just realized we actually can't do Pod remotely optimally because without the hammer, you can't take the path through the right side.
Yeah.
So a play to Pod is going to be a risk.
Now, where is Frostbite going here?
I think this is the Pod play. He's already done everything up north, so you just walk over here to get the Pod since you don't have hammer.
No hammer. Yeah.
While Jem gonna make his way to the dark room, gonna get another 300 rupees and take the lead on rupee count.
The all-important rupee lead.
Exactly. How can you win if you aren't richer than the other guy?
I mean, you're not wrong. Rando is now income inequality propaganda.
Hooray! So yeah, this is the Pod play from Frostbite. So the downside that I was getting at there is the front door of Pod can be completely skipped if you have the bow, or you can do potion camera unlock. But to do that, you need the hammer to be able to actually fully loop around the right side, which we don't have. So going here now is likely going to push Frostbite into needing 5 keys to full clear Pod, instead of the quote-unquote optimal 4 keys to full clear.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does Eastern first for that reason, maybe hoping for either the hammer or another pod key to make this trip a little bit easier. He's pulling out the mirror here. He will do Saha's closet before going to I.
Can you imagine how upset you would be to find the hammer in Eastern at this point, especially if you're Gem who went to Sahasrara right off the bat?
Yes, I can. I can definitely imagine that. It happens to me all the gosh dang time where I delay Eastern Palace as long as possible, and then something important is in there, like, I don't know, the bow.
Vanilla bow is one of the worst items in the game. Let's see, we are grabbing Kiki, gonna walk him over. We will see if he follows your idea, which I think is a good idea of hitting Eastern first, or if he just walks right into pod to save the transitions.
Well, he has bombs out and not the mirror, so he's going to pod first.
In here, let's see, with 2 keys, if you use them logically, illogically, whatever, you only have the chest over here, the 2 right side chests, the bridge chest, and the drop-down chest in the basement in logic. You can get to the back, you can clear the back except for Harmless Hellway, but it's not in logic with the key count they have right now.
And Frostbite is opening the front door here, and so is going to check the bridge chest here, and then drop down, or dropping down first. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think the idea here is you're assuming you're going to have to open that door anyway, so just go here so you can route into the right side a little bit cleaner.
I guess I would have just done the bridge chest first, and then open and thrown a bomb there, open the ledge chest, and then come down and do the Stalfos rim.
I'm actually really curious right now which of those 2 possibilities are faster, but obviously I'm not going to break out the practice hack mid-commentary. Check that. So it'll remain a mystery. And meanwhile, Gem has also decided to dive into pod before Eastern here. Okay, Big Kia Swamp. That makes Swamp more attractive the moment we find the hammer. And 1 of 3 required 4 total keys for T-Rock in the in that last check there in the other part of the right side. So some value here in pod so far. And then we add in powder from the arena ledge. So yeah, that's a decent pickup. Not really required, just nice to have. And can be required if Magic Bat decides to hold on to something important.
Yep.
Like say, you know.
And with the mitts and the mirror, Magic Bat is in logic with that powder.
Now, the basement back here, not in logic because we don't have any type of fire, but we're talking about the conference semifinals here. These 2 know every dark room like the back of their hands. So obviously after this, we dive into Eastern. No big key, so we can't actually clear it despite having the bow, but they don't have a whole lot else left to check, and Eastern is probably the least painful of those checks.
Yeah, I would say so. That's, I think, the clear next move for these runners. I'm just trying to think about, there's got to be some kind of progression there. There really isn't any. There isn't much else that our runners haven't checked that's available.
Well, there is Ice Palace, but nobody wants
nobody wants to do that. Yeah, that's true.
And 10 arrows, so Pod had a couple keys we're going to need long term, but in the short term, hasn't really done anything for us. So now
Yeah, we also have... Go ahead.
I was going to say, Eastern is going to have 6 total items in here. We can only get to 5 of them as it stands, but that's still 5 pretty quick items. That's a cape. I don't know if we've seen Bumper Ledge at all. I don't remember it being checked if we did.
Both runners have checked it, but honestly, I missed what it was both times.
That sounds about par for the course for commentary in my experience.
It's a tough check. Tough check to see. Ooh, there's the Desert Small. That's nice to find. Chat coming through and telling us that there was a bottle up on the bumper ledge, so we're not going to see that.
And then, yeah, we're heading to the left here. We got... The cape doesn't do anything for us since that's a bottle, but it is a nice thing to have. And chat asking who has the advantage. It's at this point, Frostbite has a slight advantage. He has caught up on the checks Gem did earlier that he missed for a while, and now I believe they have checked all the same things. They're in the same dungeon. So yeah, Frostbite is slightly ahead of Gem at this point.
But this is, of course, all dungeons key sanity. This race is far, far from over.
So what do you think? We're now out of logic, so we know this isn't the progression we are actively looking for. It could be something blocked by the lamp, but where do you go next?
I think I'd probably take that that Desert Small and maybe go check that. That seems... I really don't want to go to Ice Palace without the hammer. That is not a fun time. So yeah, I think I'm going to Desert here. Frostbite agrees.
Looks like he does. My personal opinion is the Ice Palace play. With Icebreaker in the mix, you can't kill the boss, but you can check everything but the boss. And it's more items than you're going to find basically any other open location at the moment.
That's true, but, you know, a couple of those... I think the only chest that's in logic in Ice... oh, man. Ice Palace key logic gives me a headache, to be honest. So I'm not sure how many of those checks are in logic. Maybe 3? 4, maybe?
With what they've got, it should be everything except for Cold Stare, the Vanilla Big Key chest, and the chest right before that. So that would be 5 of the 8 locations. Or no, there's more than 8 locations in Ice.
No, that's all right. That's about right.
Yeah, 8 it is. I just double checked that mentally. So yeah, Gem coming out of Eastern Palace with the flute. He is going to flute to number 6. He is also making that play into Desert. And hey, there's the lamp. We've already done all the Dark Rooms game. The lamp gives us nothing we don't already have.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
A Hera Basement care package over there on, the far side of the desert. But with the fire source now, conveniently, we can go beat Lemolis.
Yep, that's the nice part of that, but that was just, ouch. So we're gonna see the Lambo fight from Frostbite over here soon. I'm assuming Gem will be doing the same thing. Lammo with Master Sword is basically vanilla Lammo. Your spins do a little bit more damage, but slashes are just fighter sword slashes, so it's going to be a very vanilla-esque Lammo fight. If you want to make it as quick as possible, you're going to do a vanilla fight with the bow assisting some sword slashes, a couple sword spins when things are spawning to maximize your damage output. Looks like that is exactly what Frostbite is planning. To everyone out there who has never tried NMG, I would like to challenge you to learn how to do Lammolas well with a low-level sword and the bow, because it is the hardest thing in the game.
That is absolutely true. I'm in the process of learning the NMG run, and this fight in NMG is not fun at all.
He gets it down pretty quick, though, and he is rewarded with a big key to Skull Woods. No!
Great. Game, come on, game, what are you doing?
So Desert can officially be called the Fetch Quest Key Palace right now. The Hera Basement, the Skullwoods Big Chest, all of it unlocked by Right Side Desert and Landmo.
And that is dungeon number 2 for Frostbite. It's going to be dungeon number 2 for Gem here in just a moment.
And we get the flute back to 3, so he's going to immediately go check that Skullwoods Big Chest. I like it. It's a quick check. It's going to go very smoothly from this area.
Gem having similar trouble there with those first bow shots on Landmo.
Yeah, it's always one of those things where there are a lot of people in Rando with stupidly good execution. But sometimes you get things like this that show you who's got the vanilla execution versus Rando execution, because they're very different things.
Just a big 20 there, so this Skullwoods Big Key is a total troll.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Do I?
You don't have to, but you could.
You should. You ought to love it.
As a player, you hate it. As a commentary or a viewer, you kind of have to like it.
Gem looks like doing the same thing here.
Yep, and I've said it multiple times in this seed already, but their routing has been extremely similar, and I bring it up again now because conference semifinals in the league, after all that went through, not to mention these two are just very good players in general, you see people who have built up a lot of good sense, a lot of the same thought processing, and it can result in things like this that are basically a mirror match. Little variances here and there that get taken back, and a lot of the same. Here we go, here goes Magic Bat. Annoying to check as it is, but we're gonna maybe get something out of it.
Nope, not today,
Nope.
Just 10 arrows.
So yeah, those fetch quests not coming out great so far. So we're going to ice now. We're making that play. We are hammerless ice, everybody. Let's give it up for everyone's favorite choice to have to make.
Get hype. Or something.
So with the big key and the small key, they should be able to route this pretty smoothly. Alongside, of course, Icebreaker, which will allow them to really skip over stuff. But I forgot to mention, we don't have Fire Rod either, so it's Hammerless, Bombos, Ice Palace. Great. So yeah, we're going to see the Pengator chest, we are going to then see the icebreaker most likely. That'll give us a couple out of logic checks, or one out of logic check, and then we will kind of get back in the swing of things to where we can expect progression after that. $20 in the first chest means no great value, and we head over to the right side.
And Jem continuing our follow the leader play and is headed into Ice Palace himself.
Oh, Frostbite actually not going to do Icebreaker. It is relatively new. I don't know if maybe he hasn't learned it.
No, he's just flipping the switch.
Okay, I see what's going on there now.
So,
you have Mario, so you don't really need to do that.
And you're not going to beat the boss, so you don't really need to do it. So just to explain Icebreaker here, what you're about to see on Frostbite's screen, you can use the Cane of Samaria to extend the state of you being in the door and clip through that rail, just like that. Ooh, Jem just missing the bomb strat there on the Pengators.
Yep, and truth be told, I'm not a huge fan of Icebreaker. I feel like it's a little bit much in terms of, like, you know, glitch ruling, but I also love it for how much better it makes Ice Palace, so...
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan. I love Icebreaker. I don't have any trouble with it. It's along with Diver Down, which we will probably see when we head over into Swamp Palace here with the cane. Those both were legalized for Rando races by the Racing Council at the beginning of the league, or near the beginning of the league season during week 2. So still relatively new glitches here.
And then Frostbite made a minor little error there. He dropped down with the intent to go do Iced Tea Room in a convenient fashion, forgetting he didn't have a small key, which prevents him from actually being able to go through that door and do so.
And there's the hammer in the Freezor room.
That is fantastic, and I wish I was playing this race because I would be so far ahead.
No, you were absolutely right. And so Jem is going to head down, looks like, and is doing this in a slightly different order. We'll see how that works.
Wow. Ice Palace is loaded because we get the boots out of the big chest.
Ooh.
And another small key to Turtle Rock. Now we can go into T-Rock, clear everything except for the boss and the 2 Fire Rod lock chests, if we're willing to use the small key on the vanilla big key chest. So now Frostbite back around, gonna do what he wanted to do a little bit ago, go through this door and head down to Iced Tea.
I wouldn't be surprised, given Jem's routing here, is going down to do Coal Stair right now. Jem, I would imagine, is gonna go back in and get the H room check, but I don't know.
No, I think this is a gamble. Going back in, even with Icebreaker, is going to be slower than it would have been to just grab it while you're here. So he might be down a T-Rock key for quite a while.
That is unfortunate. He better hope that he finds the 2 more here before too long.
So the good thing with T-Rock is you don't need all 4 keys to clear it. As long as the vanilla big key chest doesn't have anything important, you can skip that. You can save a key and you can use 3 keys to get through the dungeon instead of 4. But that's a big if, and until we see someone take that chest, Jem is in a kind of precarious position for not getting that key.
Yeah. And so Jem putting together a nice hammer cold stare fight here.
Yeah, Hammer Cold Stare, not easy. Master Sword Cold Stare, not easy. Jem made it look easy, so there we go. And we get a map of Swamp Palace, so, you know, more dungeons that we don't really need to know what they're for, but, you know, also we can full clear it, so we don't really need to check the map to figure that out, but it's all dungeons, so you have the ability to clear a dungeon, you're just going to clear it. You're not going to check the map and be, does this need, you know, the other stuff? And Gem is going back in. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, a little surprised. It's good for him, though. Frostbite had a really nice hammer cold stare fight. I think got through it a little bit faster than Gem did.
Now mirroring over, gonna flute away. Death Mountain?
No, I think this is Swamp and Pyramid Fairy. With that hammer, Swamp is now full clearable. That's 6 items. That seems like the right move here.
I may have forgotten that we got that Swamp Palace small key all that time ago because of how long we spent without the hammer.
Gem getting that icebreaker on the first try. Will pick up that Turtle Rock small here. Does drop a little bit of time to Frostbite because of the routing here, but I imagine is going to make the same call over towards Swamp Palace here momentarily.
Yeah, most likely. Definitely the most dense location. T-Rock is competitive, but without the Fire Rod blocking off those 2 chests, you're cutting down what you can see there.
Sports Cafe correcting me, of course. I was thinking non-key sanity. There are 10 item locations here in Swamp that are accessible.
Gem is taking those boots and going to Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb. 2 very quick checks. It makes a whole lot of sense to get these done right away. Hey, a small key to pod.
So your idea of checking that first chest here when we were coming past here before on the South Dark World loop might have made that pod play a little bit nicer.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been much, but you could have checked 1 more chest while you were there, and who knows what that could have given you. Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb, both devoid of value, so the boots were not really required for anything important unless a castle tower or pendant key is on the Torch and GT. They're just nice to have.
Gem is going to check the Lumberjack ledge. He doesn't have this knowledge yet. A lot of players put this off until they get the boots, considering that they can't get it until they get the boots anyway. So
yep, and routing it in with King's Tomb Bonk Rocks is basically the best time you have to route it in any way in terms of movement outside of Death Mountain climb.
So Frostbite's headed over to do the left side first. We're going to be doing the other piece of new tech, relatively new tech that I mentioned earlier, the diver down glitch. You're going to see Frostbite intentionally flood the left side key here, drop a bomb, then move from, then go south from this room as the bomb is exploding. And then down here, we'll use either bombs, look like bombs for Frostbite. You can, oh, no, he's using the cane to Samaria. You can do this either way. And do a little bit of movement here to clip into this rail and then hop right down into the quote-unquote water, fooling the game into thinking that you're on a different layer than you are. When you go back north, the bomb finishes exploding, flips the crystal switch, and then you can hop back in the water and move away. Fixes the backtracking problem over here on left side swamp very nicely.
Yeah, and for anyone interested in the kind of weird technical details of why that works, the game only actually has 1 tile of water in front of the ladder. Everything else that's water there is just a visual effect. There's 1 tile that switches you from swimming state to walking state, and yeah, if you don't jump into that tile, it doesn't know to switch you. And we did find Castle Tower key number 1 on left side swamp, because of course something had to be over here.
Yep, so that's absolutely required.
And that does give you the ability to check the second chest in Aga Tower, which might push Frostbite over there. Unlike Gem, he didn't check that first chest in there, so he's got 2 items relatively quick there. I could see a play coming at some point. In the meantime, we do see Gem following right along into Swamp Palace. We'll see if he also does left side and diver down. This type of mode, you're not prone to gamble, so I can't really see him skipping left side, but hey, there's T-Rock key number 4.
And another pod small in the Swamp Big Chest. The thing about Diver Down on the left is that if you're going to do Diver Down on the left-hand side, as opposed to just in the back, like Frostbite's about to show you to skip this, the draining cutscene, you have to do the left side Diver Down first. You can't put off the left side check and do it later if you want to do Diver Down, because it requires that you steal the key from the main room there.
Frostbite having a little bit of trouble getting out of the water in the right spot here.
Yeah, you gotta, when you jump into the water, you do, you buffer a downright input, and then as soon as you can, after you hit the water, you change to a right input. And that hops you out of the stairs in the right spot to clip into that.
Gotten close a few times, but just can't quite get it.
I usually menu buffer this. Makes it a little bit easier here. There you go.
Okay, crisis averted. We hit 20 rupees and a heart container down here.
That definitely cost him a lot more time than it gained him, though. Which is unfortunate.
Oh yeah, I think Diver down there saves 4-ish seconds, if I recall correctly, off of just doing it the intended way. And that took him a lot more than 4 seconds to set up. So Gem has an opportunity to gain some time back here.
I find the Samaria setup with a menu buffer to basically be free. I find that much easier to pull off than the bomb setup. The bomb setup is technically faster than Samaria, but only if you nail it, essentially.
Now we come up to the Argus fight. Quickest way to do this with Master Sword, double grab the puffs and then spin. Actually, take that back. I think the fastest way, I think there is a version of the 0 cycle kill you do with Tempered Sword with Master. Doesn't get you a 0 cycle, but it's a little bit quicker than double spins, just extraordinarily difficult.
We'll see how much time Gem can pick up here in the Diver Down room. A lot of time, nails it first try.
We get another map, yay! And that is crystal number 3 for Frostbite. It will be crystal number 3, or crystal number 4 for Frostbite. It will be crystal number 4 for Gem as well soon, leaving 3 crystals that we don't know what they are as access to GT. GT, of course, can block pendant dungeons, so there is a possibility that we need to know what's crystals and what's pendants before we can finish this seed. Remember, my first commentary seed had the GT Big Key on pedestal with the Eastern Palace Big Key behind Ice Armos, so I'm always a little bit concerned about those type of situations.
Gem is doing exactly what you were talking about. This is the poke strat, the dash poke strat against Argus with just the Master Sword. It's a little bit, obviously a little bit harder, a little bit slower than doing it with Tempered or Gold Sword, but very well done there by.
Yeah, that was very well done. Definitely at least on par with double pull spins, maybe a little bit quicker.
Now, Frostbite didn't do the Pyramid Fairy. I wonder if Frostbite doesn't know, because Gem was the one who checked the bomb shop, right? Does Frostbite not know which dungeons are the 5-6 crystals?
I am guessing that's the case. You know, you can see it in your pause menu if you happen to look at the crystals while you are, but with him not checking the bomb shop, he has no way to know that he's got 5 and 6 without looking.
Yeah, and Gem is here taking that knowledge and using the big bomb here and going to go visit the pyramid. Whereas Frostbite is headed up to Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock, with neither the Fire Rod nor the Ice Rod. This is, you know, obviously it's Key Sanity. You know, you're likely to have to do a couple double dips here. But not fun. Gem with a very nice bomb dupe there over on the right side of you.
And see, I do really like the T-Rock play right now. There's a lot of items you can check. There's only 3 locations in the whole dungeon that you can't check. So you're going to get some money. And hey, we finally get a map check. Thieves Town is a pendant. Meyer is a crystal. T-Rock is a crystal.
I think that was Skull Woods, the green pendant, I thought.
Skullwoods is a green pendant. Thieves Town is the red pendant.
Oh, okay.
And Gem making his second dive into Castle Tower to go check chest number 2. There's really no better time throughout this than bringing the bomb back, but man, it feels bad setting yourself up for a triple dip of Aga Tower.
Yeah, that's yeah, feels bad, man. Gem did find the book in Pyramid Fairy, so those tablets now in Logic. Ooh, and there's the Quake Medallion.
Okay, so worth the trip. We need it for Meyer, which we now know is a crystal, so definitely required.
And it's full clearable. And Gem's going to do that right now. And there's the Eastern Big Key in the Chain Chomps room.
So at this point, we're looking for a Thieves Town Big Key, the Fire Rod, and the Ice Rod, and the ever-lovely one last Castle Tower key.
Yeah, I like this play by Gem now that he has the Quake Medallion. Meyer is a lot better, a lot more fun to go into in all dungeon, or excuse me, in Key Sanity that it is. It goes from just 2 items to 8.
And with all 4 keys to the T-Rock, Frostbite can freely check this chest in the middle, doesn't have to gamble it for later, and he gets a compass for his trouble. For Eastern Palace, hooray! See, after this for Frostbite, if he doesn't know his crystals are 5 and 6, I see that Eastern Palace pod clear coming up. You got 2 items left in Eastern with the big chest and the boss. You got more than that in pod, but you can't access all of them, and the boss isn't quite in Logic. But you can get a couple more items out of each of them if you go back.
Frostbite not screwing around with these pokies and using bombos to take them out like that. We'll get a Mimic Cave check here in a moment from Frostbite.
And that chest behind the torches there was a couple bombs, so not what Gem was looking for. Gonna go do the cutscene chest now.
Yeah, having those Meyer keys, those Meyer small keys going into Meyer, lets you route. It does let you route this dungeon in a little bit of a nicer way, taking out these chests here and then looping what are normally the first 2 chests on the bridge and in the spike room. Getting to route those in with the other chests over on the east side of the dungeon.
And we did just get a map of Eastern Palace in Mimic Cave. We're going to check the big chest. Come on, Fire Rod, in the least nice spot.
Oh!
Yes!
Whoa! Burn the witch! Use that fire rod and burn the witch.
So the reason I was pulling for that was because that is required to go outside to get it, which means you can't get back to the fire rod chest right away. You got to go through the rest of the dungeon, leave, and then come back for it, or walk all the way back earlier. So now we're gonna bet on Ice Rod on the right side, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Gem, meanwhile, getting a small key to Pod that'll get him to 5, which means with the hammer jump done, he can now full clear everything in that dungeon without any problems. So we get a heart piece down here as we approach Laser Bridge on Frostbite's side. A map of already cleared desert, 10 arrows, and a heart container. Not looking great for finding that ice rod down here at the moment. And Frostbite gonna save and quit out. I would have mirrored and walked back to the front for those 2 fire rod lock chests over that. I'm kind of surprised by that save and quit. So we found a couple items of consequence. Frostbite gonna take that fire rod right over to Skull Woods. I'm gonna go ahead and clear out Mothula. Gem didn't find really anything major in Meyer. He got that pod key, which is a nice have, but not really anything that's gonna help him immediately, so to speak.
Yeah, so I would say Frostbite has a bit of a larger advantage than he did before now. Seems like the Turtle Rock play was good, although considering if Gem makes it out of here and there's nothing important on Vitreous, then that Turtle Rock play becomes extremely likely, I would think, from him.
Now, see, I'm on the flip side. I think leaving those 2 chests behind kind of hurts Frostbite's advantage a little bit.
I would say that.
Yeah, you don't know if the ice rod's over there. You don't know if it required him to get the ice rod is over there. So not having that could come back to bite him, or could be completely inconsequential. Gem getting close at the end there, but gets Vitreous down with some NMGs or low percent style strats, and we'll be moving right along.
Yeah, and just again, tower key there. So Meyer just completely empty other than that pod key. Oh, the ped talk is beginning in chat.
It is.
I'm surprised it took us 80 minutes to get there.
See, I can't hope for Ped because I want the Thieves Town big key to be in GT and block out the second Castle Tower key because I'm mean.
Yeah, jeez.
That is the green pendant for Frostbite, which is honestly good reason for him to go back to Eastern and Pod and finish those up right now.
Yeah, and it's too bad for Gem. Gem is coming over here to finish off Pod, isn't going to have the Eastern big key, which was up in the Chain Chomper room in Turtle Rock. So is going to have to make another trip over to this area.
Small key to Ganon's Tower. Not quite what we were hoping to see. And And having not done Pyramid Fairy yet with no book, Frostbite can't check to make sure the pedestal is non-required. And here we go. Very soon, these two are going to be back in the same dungeon in slightly different situations. Gem can check everything here that he skipped earlier, as well as kill the boss. Frostbite will have to leave something behind. He's going to have to leave Harmless Hellway behind if he wants to check, or if he wants to kill the boss. And there's the ice rod. So, we are down to a Thieves Town big key and a Castle Tower small key to be found. Unfortunate for Frostbite now that he did not get that before T-Rock. That's going to help Gem make up a little bit of that time. Oh wait, did Frostbite must have gotten an extra key, or did he just use one less than Gem used when he was here? Okay, yeah, I believe Gem checked the vanilla big key chest, if I saw that correctly. Frostbite did not.
Gem did
So
check
he's
that
gonna go
vanilla
to
big key
Alpha
chest, yeah. So that's big for Gem finding that ice rod. Now he will be able to full clear Turtle Rock when he goes up there, and will not have to do a double dip like Frostbite. Other than those first two chests, there are the two chests in the Fire Rod Lock section would kind of have to dip back in, but at least we'll be able to full clear the dungeon on the same trip up the mountain, which Frostbite clearly will not be able to do.
Yeah, and more importantly, from a race perspective, Frostbite has one key left. He will either check the Vanilla Big Key chest or the Harmless Hellway. Vanilla Big Key is quicker, it's closer to the start. You're probably going to pick that one if you have to pick a 50-50. And he's not coming back to Pod for Harmless Hellway for a long time if he makes that choice.
He could save scum the key, yeah.
Yeah, the save scum is still better, but even still, he would have to make another trip over to Pod, and it's going to take a long time. He's going to come across that Pod small key eventually anyway, just a matter of getting back to Pod is something he's not going to do.
Yeah, he'll probably do Eastern Palace before deciding on those, I would think.
Yeah, that is definitely the right answer to do first. But yeah, if we don't get a Pod small key in there, this could drastically alter the race.
That fourth or the fifth pod key was in Mire, right?
Yes, that was in Mire. But that's a... Well, no, that's not really a bright side. I was going to say, at least he knows it's a crystal, and so no pod keys can be in GT, but that doesn't really help with anything.
Gem headed up the mountain, perhaps going to check the Ether Tablet, Hera Basement, and Spike Cave over here on this side of the mountain first.
I don't know about Spike Cave, the other two at least, and Frostbite is checking the Vanilla Big Key chest, so I would say Gem now has a very, very strong advantage. The Castle Tower key could still bite someone, the Thieves Town Big Key could still bite, but Gem is now decidedly the holder of the advantage.
I think that's absolutely right, and Frostbite mirroring out here is not, and did not save scum that key.
So ideal for Frostbite, what could bail him out here is if pod key number 6 is in the big chest or on the Armos Knights, in which case he'll go right back into pod. If that 6th key is anywhere else, he's in a lot of trouble. Gem taking on Hera Basement. Gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. It's a long check, it's a boring check, but you'll never be back up here, so it's now or never.
Yeah, really, the only other option is like mirroring outside GT.
Three bombs in the big chest in Eastern Palace.
Feels bad, man.
Bombs for everyone! You get a bomb! You get a bomb!
Yeah, and this is the Spike Cave check. Hopefully, for Gem's sake, it's a Spike Cave check, followed by a save and quit, and then a trip up to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot of options left. I think he's gonna do that, not even because, like, you know, it's a good play, but because he's basically out of options.
There you go, chat. There's bombs for everybody in the double Igor room.
Hooray! Everybody gets a bomb. Okay, getting a quick kill started. At that point, it's hard to drop it. He gets it. Small key too. Yes!
Whoa!
We
Frostbite
still have a race, ladies and gentlemen.
bailed out there.
Now, it does depend still. He could choose not to go back in, but...
That would be
Yeah,
bonkers. That would be completely bonkers if he didn't go back in.
Yeah,
I-
item Rando, you're gonna do that. Keys, no.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, so we're now back to Frostbite having a slight advantage. And, yeah, we are a Castle Tower key and a Thieves Town big key away from go mode that could still very much swing this race.
I think that Gem still. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I think that Gem still has an advantage. He's gonna. He's up a mountain climb over Frostbite here. Will be able to finish up Turtle Rock here in a bit of a nicer way than Frostbite will. Frostbite's also down a mire and Pyramid Fairy check as well. Gem will still need to beat Skull Woods, too, but I imagine that might be his next stop after TR.
And unfortunately for Frostbite, he did not do Castle Tower before the rest of T-Rock. So you couldn't do Quake, do Castle Tower, get Quake in the second chest, and then have to leave, and then go to Mire, clear that out, and make T-Rock his 7th crystal and go right into GT. So yeah, both of these two, he's going to have to do that extra climb like you were talking about. He had a chance to avoid it, but not quite pulled off. So yeah, on Gem's side, you're going to clear this out, and then you're going GT, pretty likely. It's right there. You've got everything you need for it, and it's the most density. So he is not going to get to the... He's not going to get to the pendant dungeons until after Ganon's Tower, unless he has to for some reason. And we are coming up on some big information, or some new information over on Frostbite's side. The right side over here we had not seen yet because he chose to leave it behind earlier, and now he's back with Fire Rod and can do it nice and quick.
Yeah, if Frostbite finds the other Castle Tower small key over here, that would be a big development for him. But it's not much.
Yeah, just a heart piece and the bee in a bottle. You already had two bottles, something like that. So you didn't really need it. So we are going to see Frostbite make up a good chunk of time on Gem in this dungeon, so to speak, since he's already checked everything else in here. So he's going to go straight to the boss. Gem will be checking Laser Bridge, the other stuff on the way. And then once he finishes the boss, he'll probably be going back in for those 2 Fire Rod chests. So let's see, what do we have left outside of GT? We've got not a lot as I start to try to think of this.
Yeah, the back of Thieves Town.
We haven't seen Bombo's tablet yet. That could be one of our missing keys.
Hammer pegs we haven't seen yet either.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Frostbite, will probably know he has 5 and 6 crystals by now. Might go do Pyramid Fairy into like a Bombo's tablet check before going to Castle Tower, or at the same time as going to Castle Tower as a plan. But he's those are locations that are not convenient to check, so we're gonna see a lot of GT before those.
Gem picking up his Fire Rod.
Coming up on a lovely Master Sword Trinex fight, also known as Hammer Trinex.
I hate this fight. Hammer Trinex. It sucks. That's all.
It is one of the boss fights I have practiced more than any other because it gave me so much trouble when I was starting out that I just drilled it into my head. And it's still a hard fight.
That hammer hitbox is just so bad.
Frostbite doing very nicely though, using the half magic and the fire rod to really speed up the ice head while waiting for the fire head to explode. That was fantastic.
Yeah, very, very well done by Frostbite.
Gets the double spin, misses a hammer hit on the head, so now all hits have to go to the middle, but gets him down quickly.
We get the OK Boomerang from Trinex.
Which we will never see used because they already had the objectively better boomerang.
I think the OK Boomerang is a little bit better now with splash deletion stuff. Obviously irrelevant in this situation because they've already done all the flipper checks. But I think the Boomerang gets a bad rap. It's the OK Boomerang.
Yeah, I can see that. There is a little bit more value to it now. And ooh, a flute to 4 from Frostbite. Is this? Nope, this is not the Castle Tower.
This is Pyramid Fairy, which is still good. He'll get that book. Maybe we'll check Bombo's tablet here as after that. But I imagine this could be Pyramid Fairy into Castle Tower, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Just kind of in the state of the race, it's bad for him because it's slower, but from a routing standpoint, it is 100% the right way to do this.
Very solid Trinex Part 2 there by Gem, managing, not even bothering with the spin strat there, which does create a little bit of lag during the explosion. 5 hammer hits, and Trinex is...
So folks, we've got 7 crystals and we're heading to GT. Now, we already found the GT big key in the first chest of the game, so we don't have that game to play. But hey, we got a Thieves Town big key to look for, as well as a Castle Tower key. They're going to be somewhere in GT or like 4 locations outside of it. So obviously we can't run, a bot game, but, if you guys want to take a bet on where you think it'll be, feel free.
I'm going with the last chest. I'm going with Moldorm 2.
I'm gonna be ultra rude, and I'm gonna say the Thieves Town big key will be in the basement. They'll find it, and and they'll not do tile room, and they'll leave.
Oh no.
And then the castle tower key will be in tile room.
Oh no. Very rude. Unbelievable. How dare.
Listen, I'm usually the nice guy on commentary. I gotta be mean to these runners occasionally. So Frostbite is going to get his Quake medallion very soon, then he is going to head to Crystal number 7, Mire. Reminder, he already has Skullwoods completed and EP completed, so he is slightly ahead on dungeon count. But he still needs to go through Mire, which we know outside of the one pod key that he does not need, it is empty. So here we go, the Lobby Again's Tower. Gem starting off by going right. 3 keys is enough to get you through the whole dungeon. There are only 4 total. And as long as you never open that middle door right there, then, yeah, you never need the 4th key. Gem is heading full right to begin with. Gonna go ahead and check out the compass room before going over to the more item-dense area over on the left. Here we go. 4 checks coming up before a mirror. We get a piece of heart. We have a small key to Misery Mire. We have 20 rupees, and we have the big key to Thieves
Town. Big key. Nice pull there for Gem. Check number 6. We'll steal this key, mirror back. So Gem is now just a castle tower small away from Go mode.
In true all dungeons key sanity form.
Yep, we called it early on. That's the trolliest item in Key Sanity, and we were right. Good job, us.
So now Frostbite is going to go ahead and go do the vanilla big key chest. He is still looking for 2 items. You can't just skip stuff when you're multiple things away from Go mode. Small key to Thieves Town, okay.
Nice to have that here too.
And nothing else in the Stalfos room. So Thieves Town can now be full clear. That's a benefit. Another 10 arrows, so we're moving on to Rando room, the room that doesn't matter unless you're in Rando, and there is 1 check to do on the way there.
Jen did a really nice job in the double fireball room. That hookshot strat there is not easy. It's very tight, and Jen making it look free. It was really good.
Okay, so we're going to push this block. We're going to hookshot to the chest to find another 10 arrows, because why not? You know, the times that you come into GT with no arrows, you never find any. And you come in here with full arrows like Gem did, and all of a sudden, oh, here's 30 arrows, just to make sure you're topped off. Small key to Skull Woods, not really what we wanted. And that's it for Rando room.
Oh good, the front of escape's in logic now.
Hooray! Okay, so Gem coming up to the Ice Armos. Obviously, no silver arrows, which, you know, make it a little bit nicer.
Gem is going to open the Gen Tower big chest and be rewarded with a tempered sword. Thanks,
the
game.
Best guarded sword in all of Hyrule. Get a map of GT. Frostbite, meanwhile, did a nice little strat here with Key Sanity Mire. You can enter into the middle of the bridge room here, hook to that chest on the right, drop in the hole, and walk right back down the bridge to the door. Gets the quick kill set up very nicely. Gets the quick kill
very well.
Very nice.
Very well done. There it is. There it is. At 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 20 seconds, Gem is in go mode. Finds that castle tower small key. It's going to blitz everything out.
Yep, so this is interesting, because Gem has to make his way back to EP, get to the boss and kill it. He has to go back to Skull Woods, get to the boss and kill it. And do Thieves Town. Frostbite is a little bit behind in getting this stuff, but he has 2 of those 3 dungeons done already. So this is gonna be close.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's teammates are sweating. Farime is sweating.
Probably more than the teammates, to be honest.
Yeah, probably.
And our tracker, Star14681, who's been helping out a lot throughout the seed, saying that Gem is in the lead at this point. I don't know if I would go that far. There are 2 short dungeons, but they make up a good chunk of time that Frostbite is behind. It's close enough where I would say it's basically just down to who executes better. So Frostbite gonna flute to Death Mountain, gonna go into GT. He will find his Thieves Town big key, his Castle Tower key. And then he will clear GT just as Gem is doing, go do Aga Tower afterwards, flute to 3, and then clear Thieves Town, save and quit to the Pyramid, and kill Ganon. Gem gonna be on a slightly different route, having to loop in Eastern and Skull Woods during that. That's really where the time difference comes from, is the travel to those extra locations. Gem had a very clean gauntlet. He's already at the Wizard room.
The most satisfying rooms in the game, bar.
Agreed wholeheartedly.
Oh man, that's so much cool. That's so great. So much cool. That's the thing that I said. Good.
So much cool, just like the weather in the United States. Am I right? Ha ha.
Ah ha 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 ha.
So Frostbite making his way over here to GT. Gem gonna be up to the top here. We'll see if he's gonna check these chests for silvers. With Tempered, you really don't need them, but these are quick checks. And no check of those 2. Probably not gonna check this one either. Then might check the Moldorm 2 chest.
Headed left, not great, unless he Dark Magician's here. Both of the things that we need, well, one of the things that we need being in the compass room.
Yeah, really the only route that would have been better for him than this or Gem's route, which are about equal, would have been just going full right, just straight compass room to Ice Armos would have been a bit quicker, but with having to go to Ice Armos and to compass room, he's not really losing anything by going one way or the other first.
Gem pulled the Mirror Shield out of the Moldorm 2 chest, which is unfortunate.
A little bit of extra lag to help you finish up the seed, you know? It's easier to dodge when it's lagging.
Very clean Aga 2 fight there by Gem, though.
Yep, and so now time for Not Ganon. We're gonna probably see Castle Tower, and then Eastern, then Skull Woods and Thieves Town last. Reason for that route being save and quit to Pyramid is a thing you can do if you have the mirror and Aga done. So finishing up Aga now makes getting back to Ganon super fast. We will also see if Frostbite's going to check the big chest here in GT and get that tempered sword, or if he's going to pass it up. I don't think he will. That's a big risk, especially 2 things away from go mode. But
yeah, when you're in key, like being in Key Sanity, looking for something in the basement, like that big chest never gets opened unless it's Key Sanity, and so I totally. I wouldn't blame Frostbite if he just forgets about it.
Yeah, I hope not, because this is very close, and that sword difference could turn the tides very easily.
Yes, it could. Frostbite would have to hope that there is a sword in Thieves Town. Because Master Sword Silverless is... Well, all right, never mind. He is checking that chest. He will get that tempered sword, so that will not be a problem.
And it's good for Frost that he went this way, in a sense, because if he got the Thieves Town big key first, you might be tempted to gamble that it's in Thieves Town, leave GT behind. Getting the Castle Tower key first, he's not leaving GT until he has that big key. There we go, Ice Armos number 2, but on Gem side, we're coming up to the interactive cutscene. How many blue balls today? Somewhere between 0 and 15.
2. 2 blue balls.
I'm going to take the safe option and say the average of 3.
Frostbite lost a little bit of time there on the Ice Armos fight. We'll get that Castle Tower small key. Gonna mirror out.
And he is headed right, so he will be in go mode very, very soon. I'm just running in my head the time it takes to walk to Eastern, the time it takes to walk through to the back of Skull Woods, clear them all. This is going to be, like, stupidly close going into Thieves Town.
Yep. Yep. Very, very close.
Here we go. Frostbite just has to hit this switch twice and he will be onwards. I have not kept as good a count on blue balls as I hoped, but I think that was only 1.
One blue ball.
There we go. Big key of Thieves Town for Frostbite. About 8 minutes behind Gem. He is in go mode, but Gem has more to do before he can finish the seed. So, yeah, we got a race.
That was a missed flute by Gem. Unfortunate.
Gotta say, I'm curious if Gem will bother opening anything else. Like, Thieves Town is a couple chests right in the way. I assume he would get, like, the maiden chest, the one by the bomb floor. But I think that's about it for what you would pick up. Oh, no, Frostbite's out of arrows, and thank God he didn't spawn that drop.
Clutch 10 arrow drop there from the Mimic.
Room went way off the rails, but thankfully he made it out of there without having to go dig the ground outside of Ganon's tower for arrows. See, I think at this point, Gem does have the slight lead. He's already in Eastern. Frostbite has to go through Aga Tower, which is going to take longer than Skull Woods. So, and that's after he finishes GT, which still has a couple minutes left. And you know, all Dungeons Keith Sandy is always a long seed. You always expect it to go longer. But, you know, both of these runners are sitting here an hour and 53 minutes into the seed. You start to get worried around now. Around now is when, in this kind of seed, you're like, okay, up till now I get my opponent not being done, but at this point, I'm kind of concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to this point in the seed, and you're watching that SRL room, looking for that dot done.
Well, I know at least before the race, Frostbite said he was going to keep SRL minimized. I think Gem does the same. So they're probably just both flying blind. For all they know, their opponent could have finished 15 minutes ago. They're just, you know, carrying on.
All right. There's Eastern Palace down, 4 Gem. Gonna come out of here. Gonna flute over to 4. Go into the Dark World. Kill a moth. Kill a thief. Then try to kill a pig.
Yeah, but I think practically, now that
3,
I think about
excuse me, not 4.
Yeah, I think practically, now that I think about it, you're going to do Thieves Town first, because walking back out of Skull Woods is a nightmare.
Good point.
So he'll probably do that first, and then Thieves Town. And then Skull Woods, if I can say the right name. Frostbite checking that chest there and finding the single arrow, the least important thing in the game. And that's a big 20, so still no signs of that second bow. Could be back at Thieves Town, could be those couple overworld checks we mentioned earlier. These two don't really mind not having silvers, but I'm curious where they're at. So we got Frostbite coming up on Aga 2. He will hopefully have a nice clean fight like Gem did earlier. And then he'll be into Aga Tower.
Gem not picking the attic chest. Chat is wondering whether Gem will blind pull the pedestal. I think you have your answer now. He didn't even check a chest that was right there. So yeah, you're not going to see that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, at the almost 2-hour mark, you're not wasting time to walk to the pedestal, sit through the fanfare for probably some rupees or bombs or arrows, maybe a mushroom. So here we go, Aga Tower for Frostbite. Nice and quick, honestly, with Tempered Sword and, you know, this much stuff working for us, but still a slog to go through. Lazy worms keep dragging their feet, for those of you who may not have caught Blind's pun today. Perfect script blind fight. Gets Gem through Thieves Town. He gets Butter Sword off of the boss.
There we go.
And now, if this were vanilla, you would be a little bit annoyed by that, because in vanilla, Mothula is immune to everything but pokes from the Butter Sword. But in Rando, that's fixed, so no harm done. Here we go, entering into Gem's final dungeon. He just needs to kill Mothula. He's, everything else from here done. But he also needs nothing else, so he's just going to go kill Mothula, and then save and quit, and go meet the big pig. And at this point, with the Butter Sword, I couldn't see it with Tempered either, but with the Buttered, I really can't see any mistakes on Ganon from runners who have made it this far. So chances are very high that Gem is going to take this. Things happen, but...
Yeah, I agree. These guys probably wouldn't have much trouble with Ganon, even without all of the stuff they have. The only thing that Gem is missing is the silvers, but we'll be able to pull off that silverless Ganon without much trouble at all.
Yep, and of course we mentioned at the beginning of the race, if Gem does hold on to his lead here and take it, I will remind you that we mentioned at the beginning of the race that at 6:10 p.m. tonight, Eastern Daylight Time, Game 5 between these two teams is scheduled. Will be taking place on, I believe, SpeedGaming 5. Let me double check that. Yes, SpeedGaming 5. So if you want to see the end of the series, assuming Gem hangs on, it'll be Korek versus Jet at 6:10 EDT, which will be a fantastic race.
Oh, man. That's good. Jet, of course, the reigning champion of the main tournament, and as well, Korek is I think ranked if not first, then top 10 on the ladder in the preseason. So that's gonna be a heck.
Yep, I know both those guys. I've met both of them in person actually, and they're both fantastic at this game, and I like both of them and want to see them try to destroy each other. So Gem is in the Ganon fight with Butter. The first two phases are basically free, 6 hits apiece, very hard to mess up. We're going to get the 4 hits on phase 3, then go for phase 4, which is really the only risky phase. You need 12 spins to get the pig down, and you can fall off the edge and have to start from scratch. And Ganon did ask if we found the silver arrows in Thieves Town, so they were either in the attic that Gem skipped that was right there, or in the big chests, pretty much.
Answering a question in chat, we do not know what the settings for Game 5 are yet. They're not listed on the form, but if Jet or Korek is in chat, maybe they will enlighten us.
If I do want to note for all those watching, once Gem finishes up here, we are going to hold on interviews until Frostbite finishes as well, since he's only going to be a couple minutes behind. We'll hold on, bring them both in here together, but that is a GG to Gem.
Yeah, and Gem finishes in first place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 50 seconds. GG to Gem. And Fraime will give an interview if we win. And that is a must-win game for them. They will be headed into Game 5 here later today.
Yep, and Frostbite, as mentioned, not far behind, just has to go kill Blind and then get through his own Ganon fight. Since the Butter Sword was on the boss, we know that he will have it. He got the silvers out of the attic. So yeah, he's gonna have a quicker Ganon fight. Obviously, unfortunately, a little bit behind, but very, very close race throughout. We are joined by Jem. Jem, I did mention since Frostbite is so close to done, I'd like to give his Ganon fight a little bit of attention as he goes through it. And then we'll get to interviews once that is complete. He's going to be jumping through blind first. So let's see. We have the blind fight. Much like Jem, you're going to see Frostbite try to go according to script. There are 3 pokes at the start here. You line up a poke to get a first frame hit as he goes right here, and then another poke as he loses invincibility a couple times, and then you do the same thing going left, and you get blind down the exact same every time with no risk. Frostbite did miss a hit though, so he lost a little bit of time there. That is the 12th dungeon complete for Frostbite. A save and quit away from a very, very fast Ganon fight. Now, much like Jem with Butter, Phase 1 and 2, you're not remotely afraid of because, well, 6 hits are very easy, and you can 1-in-1 cycle without literally even trying, as long as you know how the fight works. But Phase 3, after, the go-to standby phase, then we get to see if he has the clean fight that Jem had. With Silvers, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, Silvers save more anxiety than they do time in this fight.
For sure. Phase 3 is about done. Oh no, Silver, my one true weakness! And, he missed that arrow. Whoops. Skipping out on Torch Glitch can let you set up for a double, but he was a little bit slow on the draw there to set that up for a double or triple. But in one Torchlight phase, he gets all 4 arrows. GG to Frostbite as well, going to finish less than 4 minutes behind Jem.
Yeah, GG to Frostbite, who is finishing, of course, in 2nd place with an official SRL time. Oh, gets stuck. Thought he got stuck by the bridge there. With an official SRL time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, 25 seconds. GG as well to Frostbite3030.
And so with that, I did mention Jem had joined us earlier. Jem, how you doing? GG.
Hi, thanks.
So that was a seed, not as mean as it could have been, but it had a lot of rude to it.
Well, it destroyed a hammer in Ice Palace.
Yeah, that's always a bad time.
Yeah, and then you add in the Fire Rod in the big key chest, the T-Rock, just to slap you in the face if you want to check the front couple chests. For Frostbite, he went up there before he had the Ice Rod, so he couldn't just kill the boss and teleport back out.
Ouch. That sucks.
So yeah, what are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I thought it was a pretty good AD key seed, well, for me, because I'm the kind of guy that always, full kills everything, and there were a bunch of items that rewarded that, like the Ice Rod, that wanted you to go to port with all the small keys that you could have, and what else was there? I think there were a few other things, but that's the one that stuck out for me.
We are also joined by Frostbite3030. GG, Frostbite.
Hey, thanks, GG's Jem. Good race.
GG's, dude.
Yeah, I was thinking about it afterwards. If Meyer and Eastern had been switched, this would have been a very, very close race in the end, because I would have ended up... You would have had to come back up the mountain before GT. I'm assuming you looped TR into GT. And then I would have go-moded Meyer in the end, because I would have done things differently. I wouldn't have had to find Quake, so I would have been looking for Quake, so I would have done Pyramid Fairy, or I would have done Agate Tower after GT, went and go-moded Mire, so that was unlucky. But no, it was a stupid seed. Hammer and Ice, and especially in these key seeds, feels so bad, because you always find these little trails of crumbs that you can do before it, and then going there. But like, I think we both had basically the same sort of shrapnel left. But yeah, I meant to check Pyramid Fairy after I did Swamp, but I was frustrated at not being able to get Diver down quickly, because my controller's D-pad is not as good as it was when I purchased it anymore, and I just totally forgot about it. And after I had left, I was like, well, I could flute back there and just do Pyramid Fairy, which obviously would have been the smart thing to do, or I can just hope that the Fire Rod's in TR and it actually blocks the Ice Rod, and it didn't, and yeah, that was it. But I felt pretty good about that one. I played well. I had a few mistakes, but other than that, I mean, I felt I routed it pretty clean. It routed really good. There was so many things early to make the dark overworld checks fairly, like, convenient, you know what I mean? So it worked out pretty friendly like that. The only thing was really the hammer. And I mean, I got super bailed out at times too. Like, if that pod key hadn't been on Armos Knights, I don't know if I ever would have got the Ice Rod, because I probably would have been frustrated and forfeited before I found it, because Gem would have finished a lot longer for me. So I got lucky as well at sometimes. It's good to acknowledge that too. But yeah, it was fun. It was a fun seed. I mean, I felt I was at a disadvantage no matter what I picked, especially since I knew Gem was gonna veto inverted. And I figured I could have picked Swordless, because I know Gem hates Swordless. But the problem is I also hate Swordless, so then it's like, well, I gotta do a seed that I don't even think it gives me an advantage for, and I'm not gonna like it. So I was like, the heck with it. I'm just gonna pick something I like playing. So.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. No, I know. I suck at Swordless, man. I feel like if I was confident at all, that's what I would have picked for sure. But I felt like there was a good chance you were going to execute way better than me on the Swordless boss fights anyway, so I figured that was not smart. But yeah, GG's, that was an awesome run for me. I felt pretty good about it, but not surprised I lost. I was a little, you get some downtime when you're doing the GT climb and the Agate Tower climb to sort of like backfill the seed, and I figured there was some really, like, basically getting into Mire and getting the Ice Rod before TR was really, really good.
Yeah, that ended up really being the difference for the vast majority of the seed. I'd say for the first, like, I don't know, 80 minutes of it, maybe even a little bit more than that. You, both of you, were essentially on exactly the same track, with Gem a tiny little bit behind, or at least out of sight here, because he started out a little unorthodox, did a Sahasrara check, started with a Houlihan, and that put you a little bit behind, but like, you essentially were following in each other's footsteps for a huge part of the seed.
That's funny. I thought about making that play. I do like that play in all dungeons, Key Sanity as well. Now, there were lots of rupees early, so it didn't hurt me, but that can be, I mean, not having rupees early can be very, very punishing, but I think there was like 1 million rupees somewhere early, I feel. Like, so, 200-300s in the backup Lion's Hut or something like that. I can't remember where it was.
Yeah, I think it was the had the bunch of money. Gem, I was going to ask you, did you do anything different this seed than you would have if you weren't on the brink, if your team wasn't on the brink of elimination here? Or do you just really trust your own play and do things like normal?
I just did everything normal, I think. I don't know, I think it's silly to like do stupid gambles just because no one lost away from being out of the tournament. I don't know. Just seems silly.
See, I'm of the same mindset as you. I just know that there's a big split between I gotta play riskier because I'm on the brink of elimination, or no, I'm here because I'm good enough to play normal. I'm always curious how people feel at the end of races like that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I definitely didn't play this any differently because we were up 2-1. I wouldn't have played it any differently if we were down 2-1. I tend to make gambles based on how I feel about how the early seed has gone, which is one of the reasons why I picked Key Sanity, because it's more of a full clear. Like, you know, I like to skip things, right? And it always burns me. And in a 1v1 elimination sort of game, either way, that's not great. So one of the reasons I picked Key Sanity was sort of to force myself into full clearing everything. And I know that's not, you know, like I said, Gem's execution on the micro level is much better than mine, so he's going to gain time over me over the long run. But with Key Sanity, I was just hoping that I could check things in a bit better of an order, or, you know, all it takes is abandoning one spot, and it happens. I'm sure we both didn't clear every single check on the overworld, and if one of the spots that Jem would have left had been maybe one of the Agatara keys or something like that, and I didn't leave it, I could have had a chance, and yeah, it just didn't work out that way. But no, it was a fun run. Love those silvers, love that butter sword. Really dumb. And I guess what else was I laughing at about? I mean, the hammer was brutal. I completely mixed up the key logic in Ice Palace going in without the hammer. I think this is the first time I've ever gone into Ice Palace without the hammer using Icebreaker, and so I forgot that you couldn't pick up the key under the rock to give yourself a key to go south. So then I ended up just spending like an extra, like, you know, 45 seconds running around before finding the hammer, and I was like, oh great, now I get to run back upstairs and pick up some useless piece of junk, but there's no way I'm leaving that. So that was annoying. That's a thing to learn for next time. Remember, you can't pick up that key if you don't have the hammer.
Wait, did you not have a small key when you went into ice?
I did, but I jumped. I thought I didn't. I knew I was going to use that key to get out, but I forgot. So I jumped down to go get iced tea before going to Freezor. So then I got halfway down and I realized I didn't have a key, and so I just went out the side door and got the hammer, and then went back around and went back through and dropped down and went to Freezor room or went to iced tea room that way. So I got a nice tour of the skating rink for everybody today. But yeah, I did have a key. I had the big key and the small key. Like, I'm assuming they were pretty early. Because I was thinking about ice for a long time before I went, because I had that big key and that small key, and I was annoyed because that's another thing I was annoyed with. I was going over through the hammer pegs, I had the choice of doing like pyramid, the castle, pod eastern, or and then going up to catfish, and I decided not to do pod and eastern. But then I ended up just going back through the Mitz portal over to pod anyways, so that definitely cost me some time. I figure I should have just went to pod after I did the castle and before I went to catfish. That was a mistake I feel I made, but other than that, I feel like I played pretty well, and yeah, I'm happy with how it worked out. Disappointed I lost, but again, not surprised. Jem's a really great runner, and yeah, it's on to game 5.
Yeah, you guys both played very well for the most part. Both had a couple hiccups. We had a couple moments of fear with both of you. Jem had found the ice rod before Frostbite. You went back to pod. So you got that vanilla big key chest, and we were worried for you. Jem, we were worried you were going to leave the H room in Ice Palace behind, which had, I forget what key, but something that could have been significant.
Yeah, it wasn't the Osmo. Then I was disappointed when the big key chest didn't have anything.
Same, TBH. When do you ever get to check it in Key Sanity? It's always one of those spots that's burning a hole in your brain when you find the 4th TR key after you leave TR.
Yeah.
So you guys both had those moments that kind of worried us, but overall, very close finishing, especially, you know, it's a few minutes, but a lot of that just kind of came down to a little bit of unfortunate routing. For the most part of the seed, 20, 30 seconds between you two. It was a real fun watch. It was real fun to commentate.
Yeah, agreed. And, you know, with that win by Jem, of course, we are headed for a Game 5 later today. Match is going to be at 6:10 p.m. Eastern time over on SpeedGaming 5. It is Korek versus Jet. That is going to be a super hype match. That's all dungeons standard, sword assured key sanity. So pretty similar to what we have going on here. So that was, but a great morning race for me, certainly. So thank you guys for putting on a heck of a show.
No problem. We try our best, and yeah, GG's again, Jem, and looking forward to watching Game 5. And thanks to Bentos and Tyler Salt for doing the comms. Not too early for me, but I don't know if y'all live in like the Northeast United States. I live in Canada near the Toronto area. It was like a blizzard outside today, and that is insane given that it's the middle of May. So I'm going to step out of here and go do a few things. And yeah, GG to Jem, and thanks for putting this on again.
Enjoy.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure. So thank you to both Frostbite and Gem. GG's to both of you. Thanks to our tracker, Star, who's in the chat, Star14681, helping us out by pushing all of those buttons. Make sure that you give... I don't know anybody who doesn't already follow Gem and Frostbite, but if you don't, what are you doing? Fix that. Their handles are in chat to A+ runners for us. And Penny Royal, it was a pleasure to work with you this morning.
Right back at you. It was a very fun commentary seed, and you were a great partner to have for it. So I appreciate you being here with me.
Thank you very much. So, for all of us here at Speed Gaming 2, and our tracker Star 14681 for Frostbite and Gem, for Penny Royal Oil, my name is Tyler Salt. Thanks for joining us here today. We will see you over on Speed Gaming 5 tonight, 6:10 p.m. Eastern Time for Game 5 of this series, the final, probably the final conference semifinal match here. Thanks everyone for watching, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.